Shared Literature Presentation by Alexa Kama. I am observing in a second grade integrated co-teaching class located in the St. George area of Staten Island, New York. The students in this class range in age from 7 to 8 years old. There are 32 students in this class. There are 17 girls and 15 boys. 8 out of these 32 students are English language learners. The language proficiency levels of the students are entering, emerging, transitioning, and expanding. The students L1 in the class consist of Hindu and Spanish. There is 1 student who speaks Hindu and 7 students who speak Spanish as their L1. The students I chose to work with are the same students I worked with for the LEA project. These students all come from Spanish-speaking countries. The 4 students I chose to work with come from Colombia, Dominican Republic, and Mexico. My 4 focus students are at the emerging and transitioning level. The 3 texts I have chosen are The Cat in the Hat, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and Hop on Pop, all written by Dr. Seuss. One reason I chose these 3 texts is because I know my students love reading Dr. Seuss books. The entire class did a whole author study on Dr. Seuss a couple of weeks ago around the time of his birthday. Students learned all about Dr. Seuss and read some of his books. Students even celebrated his birthday one Friday. They made Dr. Seuss hats and had fun coloring sheets to complete. Another reason I chose these 3 books is because Dr. Seuss books are known to have rhyming and repetition. Rhyming and repetition books are great for English language learners. Research states filling children's heads with rhymes is one of the easiest and most natural ways to focus their attention on the sounds of the English language. These 3 books all have the same theme of rhyming, repetition, and are all written by the same author. My 4 students love any Dr. Seuss books. They all get so excited when they read one of his books. The students are all engaged in the lesson and love to hear the rhymes. His books are funny and keep all students entertained. His illustrations catch the students' eyes and describe what exactly is going on in the text. His books are also good for students to practice their sight words. Most of the words in the book are student sight words that are important for them to know, which help them learn how to read. Dr. Seuss's books have great illustrations. The pictures are detailed to match the words. This benefits ELL students because if they do not understand the word rake in the sentence, rake on head, they can look at the picture and see that there is a rake on his head and be able to understand what was said. All of his books keep students engaged because of how funny and silly the text is. Engagement is so important in all lessons, especially when reading text, so the students focus and know what is going on in the text. Research states when learners are actively engaged, they are involved in tasks that challenge them and allow them to gain confidence. My students' strengths are they know the sounds of consonants. They can identify the letter of the sound they hear. Students also know the initial and final sounds in a word. When reading, students are able to look at the word and sound it out to the best of their ability. They also have great listening and speaking skills. My students struggle with the short and long vowel sounds. They get confused between the sounds of the vowels and often spell and read the words wrong. For example, they will often read the word bag as beg. Students often get confused at times identifying the difference between the long and short vowel sounds. They will often try to read a short vowel sound and read it with the long vowel sounds, which causes students to not be able to read the word. I also notice some of my students struggle with comprehension. Choosing books that have short and long vowel sounds, which are repeated over and over again, will help students become familiar with these words. The first book I am going to talk about is The Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the Hat is about 2 children, Sally and Sam, who are alone on a rainy day. The cat in the hat comes over and shows the kids tricks and piles a bunch of crazy things on his head and hands until it all falls over and makes a mess. The mess is all cleaned up before their mother gets home. The mother comes home and asks the children what they did. They did not know if they should tell their mother what went on. The book ends by asking students, "What would you do if your mother asked you?" I was lucky enough to be able to read this book to the entire class. We had a whole class discussion on whether or not students would tell their mom. We went around the room and every student spoke, including all of my ELL students. They all understood what was going on and were so engaged in this book and could not wait to share if they would tell their mother or not. The Cat in the Hat. The book has a lot of sight words students know. Some examples of the sight words in this book are all, and, do, it, that, the, to, was, we, and you. There are so many rhyming words. Some of the words in the book are in word families. Research says word families consist of groups of rhyming words like cat, mat, sat, and bat that are spelled similarly. Some of the word families in this book are all, ball, fall, and tall, dish, fish, wish, day, say, play, and it, bit, hit, sit. As I stated, students are struggling with the short and long vowels. There are many different examples of short and long vowels in this book. Examples of short vowels are red, bit, and hat. Example of long vowels are shine, cake, and rake. The second book I am going to talk about is One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish starts off the story with repetition. Between the cover page and the first 2 pages, the word fish is used 12 times. The story starts off by talking about all the different kinds of fish. 1, 2, red, blue, old, new, black, sad, bad, glad, etc. His illustrations match to the type of fish he is describing. By students noticing the different types of images to match the word he is using to describe the fish, it strengthens their vocabulary. As the story continues, we get introduced to different kinds of unique creatures. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish is filled with rhymes and repetition. Having the same words repeated over and over again allows the students to be able to recognize the word and be able to read it themselves. Some words that are repeated over and over again are bump, some have, and some are. Word families are also used in this book, such as bump, gump, wump, and hump. Dr. Seuss uses repetition and recognition by using images that are an exact match to the words in the story. This helps build students' vocabulary, comprehension, and awareness of words. Short and long vowel words are also in this text, which are constantly repeated, so this will benefit my students because they struggle with vowel sounds. This is a picture of 2 pages from the book. This is an exact example of how Dr. Seuss uses repetition and recognition by using images that are an exact match to the words in the story. The text says, "My hat is old, my teeth are gold, I have a bird I like to hold. My shoe is off, my foot is cold, my shoe is off, my foot is cold. I have a bird I like to hold, my hat is old, my teeth are gold, and now my story is all told." So each line in the story was said twice, and when you look at the line, it's right next to the picture, and it describes exactly what the picture is. So the first line is, "My hat is old." If you look at that hat, it's a picture of an old hat. "My teeth are gold." The character's teeth are gold in the story. So the words are describing the picture, which makes it easier for students to comprehend. The third book I am going to be talking about is Hop on Pop. Hop on Pop is a book filled with rhymes. Each page has a different rhyme about a different topic. The book gives 2 words that rhyme. After the 2 words that rhyme, Dr. Seuss creates a sentence with those 2 rhyming words. For example, up, pup, pup is up, cup, pup in cup, pup, cup on pup. This book also has word families. One example of these word families seen in this book are pat, sat, bat, cat, and hat. According to research, using word families connects the pattern of a known word with a new word. Use word families and rhyming elements to move from known to unknown patterns. Word families make it easier for students to be able to read the words because if they know that final sound, they can sound out the beginning sound and put together the new word. Hop on Pop has pages dedicated to long vowels. The long vowels used on one page are C, B, 3, tree, and B. Hop on Pop also has pages dedicated to short vowels. The short vowels used on one page are all, ball, and wall. Those are the same words used in The Cat in the Hat. I wanted to choose books that had similar words for students to be able to recognize. Reading the same type of words over and over again is repeated reading. Even though it is not in the same book, the words are used in both books. Research states through repeated readings, CLD students increase their reading rate and accuracy, and when teachers pre-teach and use words from the text throughout the lesson, the students develop greater comprehension. Repeated readings is one strategy that can help my students build their reading comprehension. I notice my students are struggling with comprehension, but I do believe the book choice has to do with their ability to comprehend the text. Comprehension. I have noticed their engagement goes hand in hand with their comprehension. When the teacher is doing a read aloud and the book does not interest my students or the book is too hard for them, they tend to zone out. Them zoning out means they are not paying attention, which results in lack of comprehension of the text. When reading Dr. Seuss books, students are always engaged and paying attention, which results in their comprehension of the book. Freeman and Freeman state, students need comprehensible input, which is messages they can understand in either oral or written form. If the books chosen during a read aloud are too hard, students will not be able to comprehend. The 3 Dr. Seuss books I have chosen, all of my students are able to comprehend. The reading level of these books are appropriate for my students, especially being read aloud. Thank you to everyone who watched my presentation. Feel free to leave some comments. Thank you.